Hello everyone. This is my session on leadership. I will talk today on leadership attribute, servant leadership attribute. What is exactly servant leadership? Right. So let me share my presentation here. See, the servant leadership is correct. So when you talk about leadership, when we talk about leadership attribute, right? When you talk about leadership, what exactly leadership? What actually leaders does? You can see leaders with authorities, and there will be leaders without authority. They don't have any authority, any power, but they're still the leaders. They lots of group of people support them, and they follow that particular person. Right? So leadership, when you talk about leadership, it has immense importance in our life. Right? If you think about a family, parents like father or grandfather, whoever it is, mother or grandmother, someone will have influence inside the family, right? And from where that influence from where that influence comes because of their leadership attribute or leadership quality. So everywhere, every individual will have some kind of leadership qualities, and they will be acting or performing accordingly. Right? So when we talk about leadership, there are so many leadership styles. Right? So one of them, the best leadership style is servant leadership style. So what exactly is servant leadership or leading by serving? It's basically a philosophy or a set of principle or process which leaders follow, to serve people or to serve the community or to serve the people in our employees in the organization with their best way. Let's go and see what is actually servant leader. The servant leadership, this actually, several leadership is a leadership philosophy and practice that prioritize the growth, well-being, and development of people being led. Here, it helps, it helps the growth, well-being, and the development of the people being led. Here, what happens, the servant leadership is particularly an individual who take care of the leadership. He he or she, whoever it is, like a man or a woman who is into the leadership role, what they do, they don't direct, they don't order, right? So if you see the structure, organizational structure, let's say in organizational structure, talking about a manager, the manager will be in the top. Below manager, there will be tech leads, or maybe developers, engineers. If I'm talking about software company, a manager, below him some tech leads, and then developers, you know maybe some architects, and so many resources will be under him. They will be direct reportees to that manager. If you see in the hierarchical organizational hierarchical structure, that manager will be in the top position, and above manager may be senior manager, above senior manager may be you know um, associate director, above associate director may be director, above director may be VP, above VP may be president, right? So if you see this hierarchical structure, the hierarchical structure of the companies goes on top to top to top to top to top, right? And the delegation of work starts from top to the down. So this is the process how the work starts, or how the work get executed or done in an organization by a group of people under a vertical. you know. So what actually I'm trying to tell you here, the manager who is leading the people, no doubt he is in the top, but he should lead, you know, by serving her resources or his resources, by serving the resources under him. When you start serving the resources rather directing them, you will be able to understand what exactly it is, what your resource needs, what they are looking for, and you will have a better bonding with them, better relationship with them, and in this way you will grow in your career, as well as you will use the resources under you to grow in their career. If I'm talking about software organization, the servant leadership can be implemented anywhere. You know, anywhere again you can implement servant leadership. But again, implementing servant leadership doesn't mean you have to listen everything. No, there is a point, there's a line where you have to take your own decision. You have to follow servant leadership style to for the well-being of the employees, for the growth of the employees, for the development of people who are working with you, or who are working with you. So the term actually servant leadership was coined by Robert K. Greenleaf in 1970. In his 1970, he has written an essay, The Servant as a Leader. The term was coined there. Core principle, servant leadership focus on serving others rather than being served. You always focus on serving others rather than being served. If you focus on serving others, directly or indirectly, you are serving yourself. So there is a beautiful quote, the servant leader is servant fast. The servant leader is servant fast. It begins with the natural feeling that one to serve, to serve fast. The conscious choice brings one to aspire to lead. Right. See, there are 10 characteristics defined by this Inleaf. The first one is listening. On the servant leadership, these are the 10 attributes or characteristics defined by this Robert K. Greenleaf. The first one is listening. You know, to serve someone, you should be a best listener. If you are listening, if you are a good listener, then definitely you will be able to deliver best thing for your team or the people those are working with you, and you'll be able to influence them in a better way. See, listening, when I'm talking about listening doesn't mean that you listen, I heard what the word is said, or what the sentence is said, or what the statement the person or my employees or my group or my team is saying. That is not listening. Listening means you heard it, you listened it, and you understood it, what your group, team, or your colleagues or your people working with are saying. You understood the statement. If you have not understood, then you need to understand it. You need to ask them specifically what you mean by this statement. You know, what you exactly want. That is what called listening. Listening means anyone can listen, right? We also, sometime I will put my earphone, I will be listening music, but my mind will be not in listening music. I'll be doing something else, but music will be going on. I'll be listening on, music will be going on and it will be hitting my eardrums. Does it make any sense? If the music I'm listening, it is hitting my eardrum. That means it is sending some music signal or some sound signal to my brain. But my brain actually, or my mind is actually concentrating on some other work, and I'm doing that. So this listening, this song is not has any meaning. It's just kind of relaxation or kind of just relaxing mind or something like that, right? But mind is focused on something else. Sometimes we watch listen. Sometimes we watch news channels. Only for sake we'll be putting will on switch on the television or maybe on live telecast of news channel. We will listen the news, but we don't actually take into our mind and see what the news anchor is saying and what is happening around the globe. We don't actually put into mind. We don't actually put into our mind. What we do, we just listen. Something has happened, something has happened, something has happened. This kind of listening is just listening. It's not, kind of realizing, understanding, or trying to find some or trying to approach or solution to a problem. These are not kind of listening. So when it is saying listening, that means you have to listen what your group is saying, team is saying. You have to understand it, and then accordingly you have to take the next step. That's how called listening. Listening is very good impact. Listening has a very good impact on this leadership attribute, not only for servant leadership style, but any kind of any kind of leadership. You follow any kind of leadership, your listening is a very important factor, and you should be a good listener. Next point, if you come, empathy. You know, some years back, people used to test sympathy. Now people remove that sympathy and they added empathy, right? Empathy is the better version of sympathy. You know, but how much empathy you are showing to your employee, and on what kind of situation, what kind of condition you are showing empathy to your employee, right? That actually matters. When you talk about empathy, you should always be, careful, because you are talking about empathy and you are not following the principles of empathy, right? In your project or in your team, you are leading the team. You are working with many people. There are, let's say, you have a very big group with you. The all employees are working together with you. You are the leader of them, but you never followed the principles of empathy. That doesn't make you a servant leadership, right? To be a servant leadership, you need to follow the principles of empathy. And when you're following the principles of empathy, you know what empathy is, right? Empathy is basically sympathy. What do we do? We just give the support. We just show the support. We go, we stand. Someone is in stress and tension, something has happened wrong. I will go to her. I will sit with her. I'll just explain her something. I'll just give some positive, feedback or ideas and come back. And I will forget later. That is not what called empathy. Empathy means you have to stay in touch with her or him, until unless that issue get resolved. That is actually called sympathy. That means you are working or you are standing still on the path that person comes out of his problem or trouble. Healing. Healing is another attribute, it's kind of, it comes when empathy is there, healing will come into picture, you know. So you should be a kind of a good healer while you talk, while you collaborate with your group or team. You should help everyone to, rather getting into stress or strain, they should get, the softness, the understanding of your statements, of your decisions, or what of the steps you are taking every day in your project along with your employees, right? That is what it is going to help everyone to stay positive and stay healthy and work for the organization, for the betterment of the organization along with you. Sometimes what happens, no? That is when you go with softness, with soft approach towards uh, towards your employees, that automatically create a healing relationship with your group, with your employees, right? So next comes awareness. What is awareness, right? So see, when we are working in the project, we'll have lots of things happening inside the project in our organization, right? So many information will coming from the top to down level. Now whatever information we are holding from the top to down, we should share with it with our team or group, kind of transparency. We should keep them aware of the project information, company information, whatever information we have. So this is not only awareness when we talk about only, it's kind of sharing the information. Also, you should aware of your team members, right? Let's say you have a group of people with you, and you should know your each team member in a better way. See, talking about a CEO, a CEO will not be knowing thousands of employees. That's the reason we have a organizational hierarchy structure, and we have leaders, sub-leaders, 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 right? So CEO can work as a servant leadership whenever anyone faces any problem, or whenever any project faces any problem, anything process problem, they approach him, or the other way. If he comes to know something is in trouble, he will come and serve it, right? But he will not know. Let's say a company has around lakhs of employees. A CEO can't know lakhs of employees, right? Chief executive officer will not be able to know lakhs of employees. So thinking that he will be a servant leadership for lakhs of employees and he will understand the problem of each individual, and that is not the way. So here, what actually I'm trying to tell, a manager who is at the lower level, he is leading a group of 20, 30, 40, 50. He is. responsibility to know and understand the each team members in a better way so that he can or she can serve them in a better way. So that is what called your awareness. See, uh, coming to the next point, persuasion. Persuasion is basically what? It's like kind of influencing, convincing someone, right? So see, in particular state, in a critical state or in a critical situation of a project deliverable, you should be able to, you know, uh, influence or convince your team, to in a kindness or in a kind way for delivering the artifact, for the organization. It is always kind of, the way you want to influence them, the way, you want to induce the project, the work of the organization or the work of the project into their mind, and influencing them to do for the betterment of the organization. So it actually is a servant, leader, or a leader following servant leadership. He No, he automatically creates this possession attribute by following all other attributes. If you follow all other attributes like we are here, say listening, empathy, healing, awareness, commitment, if you follow conceptualization, if you follow foresight, if you follow these all attributes, automatically persuasion or influencing attribute will come into place, and you'll be able to influence your group, your people those are working with you very easily, right? So coming to conceptualization, see, yeah, all this what I'm talking is just, it's trying to explain this meaning of this word and how a leader wants to do. So you all might be knowing about this, but still then it's my thought process, uh, uh, my thought process which I'm trying to present here, my viewpoint which I'm trying to present here. If you are watching, you can understand how it works, right? Conceptualization. See, now conceptualization, materialization is very important, right? Whenever we talk about any activity, future activity, or any concept, now how much we're capable enough to conceptualize that particular concept or that particular statement which we have told. So say, let's say in our project we said, okay, let's do this work and deliver it before the time, and then we will have something, uh, some uh, some activity, some activity like hacking activity, or maybe some kind of activity will go out for a day. Now, just telling this and not conceptualizing it, not making it true, not making it materialize is really a problem. For example, I'll give an example. I had one of the organization. I didn't had a big team that time. It's a small team. It's small team. Around 12 to 15 people are under me. At that time, what I did, I was serving the team and working with them, sitting with them throughout the project deliverables. I said them, see, after this project deliverables, we'll go for a trekking. and we will go for a lunch. Also, we'll have some kind of activity on the floor. So what happened? Since we had a busy schedule and we are tightly packed the whole business hour, we are not able to enjoy, we are not able to do any kind of activity throughout that month or prior to that month. So I just said them in a way. And once the project is completed, is the leader who has to initiate that statement. And what I did, I initiated the statement. We went for a lunch, then we went for a trekking, And what happens? Just basically, you whatever you say, whatever you are telling, it should not be like, oh, hey, do this, do that, and at the end, whatever you said, nothing is. So basically, keep your words, keep your statement. It's kind of commitment again, right? So conceptualization is very important when we are sorry, following the servant leadership. You know, so this is what basically activity. Let's say for business perspective, you brought some ideas or some concepts which need to be implemented and then need to be need to be added to the product and then need to be uh, you need to sell it to the stakeholders or customers whoever you are having. So that idea, what you have or the concept which you have, conceptualizing that idea is basically your conceptualization. So it's not when I talk about the conceptualization, it's not only for activity or this kind of thing. It also comes to the business, where you do good at your business, you create different artifacts, new artifacts, new deliverables for the stakeholders. Or you have some innovative ideas and you implement or create a new product which can hit the market and which can, help your organization to generate lots of revenue, and which can help your employees to grow financially as well. So this, the conceptualization concept is not only limited to ideas or only limited to trekking or party. It conceptualized concept is very important from the business side also. A leader who is serving as a servant leadership, he should be able to conceptualize the matter in a in all the aspect, either it is business or it is in other activities. He should be able to conceptualize the concepts or ideas he is having. Let's say in some company still they are having the water flow model in the development process, if I'm talking about software companies, right? So some companies, what they did, they moved out of water flow to agile methodology, and still some are continuing with water flow model. So in one of the organization, they're still in a concept or idea to move to agile methodology, but still they are thinking. They're not able to conceptualize it. So the important factor is, if you are still thinking, if you still have idea, but you are not able to conceptualize it, not able to materialize it, then it won't help. As a servant leadership, you also should always think about betterment of your employees and your group. Also, growth of your employees and group. When you think about betterment of your employees and growth of your employees of the group, definitely you are thinking about the betterment of your organization, growth of your organization. Coming foresight, right? Coming to foresight, when we are talking about foresight, it's basically future perspective, right? So a servant leader or a leader, at the top level like CEO, they should have good foresight, right? They should have good future perspective of the organization. Only they will be able to drive the organization on that path, which will help the organization to grow to the next level, to the higher level, allowing all employees to stay healthy in all the aspects in the organization, right? When coming to stewardship, what exactly is stewardship? Stewardship is kind of supervising, right? Kind of supervising, kind of, supervisor. So you should be a servant leader. The people who are following servant leadership, they are good supervisors. They take care of their team, they take care of their people or group in a very better and in a smoothly way where no one feel any kind of stress or strain, right? So being a good supervisor is always helpful. I will give a beautiful example. As a manager when I was working, I found one of my junior. She's not able to perform that well. So what happened? In that case, if I would have directed her, do that, do this, that, you are not able to do, kind of some negative thing that won't help, right? So being a manager, being the supervisor, I sat with her. I understood her problem. I listened to her carefully. Then slowly I planned her, steps how she can improve and grow. Accordingly, these steps helped her to grow in the organization, in a improving her performance day after day, month after month. She became a good employee in terms of works because first she was new to the organization. Her characteristic, attribute, and everything is good. But work-wise, like let's say developer in software engineering, coding, understanding the use case, understanding the story was not that uh, great. So guiding someone as a like a supervisor, like serving someone or guiding someone, mentoring someone to understand the things, even if she is at very junior level, and helping them to grow is kind of a good supervisor, right? Supervisor is not only to direct. If you think about the traditional approach, not servant leadership, then supervising is kind of directing, ordering to complete the task or work. Commitment. Commitment is very important. You you should never forget your commitment given to your employees. If you have given some commitment to employees, you should keep it. You should keep it. Never break your commitment. Never forget your commitment. Commitments are very important. Either it is given to employees, or it is given to business stakeholders, or it is given to partners. That's how your brand name will grow. That's how your brand name will increase. If you forget, if you break your commitment, for example, let's say you have given your commitment to one of the stakeholder or business partner that we will deliver the product on this date before time, and the quality will be high. Right? But what happened? You delivered the product in time. The quality is degraded because you didn't have enough resource to create a better quality product and deliver before time. So somehow to keep your commitment, you have delivered it. But what happened? You kept your commitment, you delivered, but quality was gone down, and the slowly what will happen in this kind of situation, slowly people will understood, okay, this person is keeping commitment but the quality is not there, right? The quality of delivery of the product is not there. So you have to think all the aspect of your product, of your deliverables with the stakeholders or business partners whenever you're giving commitment. That is about the business partner. As long as you are keeping your business partner intact with you, you do good business, you grow in business. But coming down to your group, your employees who are working with you, these are human beings, right? That is business to business commitment, and this is person to person commitment. So when you're giving a commitment to your employees about future perspectives, you should keep your commitment. About future growth, you should keep your commitment because they are individuals, they're human beings, they have life, right? This this commitment will help you to grow as well as will help them to grow in their career path. Building community. See, If I talk about commitment, there are many people who tell so many things, but they don't keep the commitment. The words only, the words, the voice they have, the words they have, that will present them as if the person is very good and committed. But sometime later, slowly people will realize that person is not committed. What happens in that case? In that case, initial days, the leader will grow higher and higher, right? But later, when people understand, they will work because because he is their boss, right? And they are earning their livelihood from the organization working under that boss. They will work, but the kind of relationship, the kind of the kind of bonding employees need to have, they will not have that. Building community, right? So building community is what you should be able to create a good community or culture. As I was talking about the software industry, right? So at least in software industry, there will be different horizontal and verticals. Let's say in one of the verticals, you are one of the managers. You should have that capability to, you know, create a beautiful community or build a beautiful community in your vertical, right? So building the community should has is one of the attribute of a servant leadership. If you have all these 10 attribute together, you can easily you know uh, become a servant leadership, and you can easily drive a team or group of team in a very efficient way without having any trouble. And that too, your all team members, they will support you in your work without creating any trouble for you. So, because you are listening to them, you have empathy in their trouble, and if they are in trouble, you are showing empathy, which is a latter you are helping them in healing. Awareness, you are giving all the information whatever happening around the project, around the company, that kind of transparency, right? So persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment. So all together these 10 attributes help you to grow in your servant leadership style, and also will help you to grow in your organization, help you to expand your strength in leadership qualities. See, this 10 characteristic which we discussed now, identified by Greenleaf. Later, it was expanded upon by Larry Spears. Here like provided brief explanation for each characteristic. Here, I'm just reading this. Whatever the presentation given by or expanded by Larry Spears, I'm just uh, reading this. Listening, understanding, and hearing what others are saying. That's what I said, right? You should understand it. It's not like only listening. You know, we all listen. We all listen what is happening around, but how much we follow it, how much we understand it, that makes very sense. Empathy, sensing the feelings and perspective of others. Sympathy, you understood the feeling, but you explained, you've given some sympathy and left. But in case of empathy, sensing the feelings and perspective of others. You understood the feelings of the person or the team or group or the people those are working with you, and you understood their perspectives, and you are able to help them and guide them and stand with them till they are in their track on their track to achieve their things. Right? That's a healing. Supporting others in resolving problems and growing. Awareness, understanding oneself and the impact of one's action, right? That is just awareness. Building consciousness and commitment through influence. Conceptualization, that's what I said, right? Commitment through influence. You have that influencing capability, right? If you have the commitment, will come into picture there also. Conceptualization. Think beyond day-to-day realities and envision the bigger picture. That is, you have concept, ideas, how you are going to implement. Foresight. Anticipating future trends and potential outcomes. Right. That's how the big in companies, that's how the sales team, CEO, COO, they always think about future trends and what they can build new inside their build new product, so that that will have a potential outcomes in future, and the company will grow based on that product, right? Not only maybe single product or multiple products. The company, the organization don't work into multiple ideas or concepts or multiple foresight. They work into many verticals, in to grow in future. Stewardship, holding the organization in trust for greater good of society, right? Stewardship is kind of supervising, you holding the organization in trust for the greater good of society. How you will hold if you are not able to supervise it in a better way? Commitment to the growth of people, fostering the development of each individual, right? I have given an example of business commitment, then I have given an example of individual. Business commitment is always required because if you have business partner with you, if your business partners are happy with you, they will be always stay with you. That is called loyalty or loyal, not loyalty, loyal. If the business partners should be, both are loyal to each other. You generate revenue keeping your business partner with you, and your company grows. You are able to deliver better for your employees. If you don't have, if you are not growing, if you're not generating enough revenue, it is basically will not be helpful to help your employees. So next, building community, creating a sense of belonging and connection among people. That's bonding, right? The bonding, if you follow top nine attributes, 10 attributes will automatically come into picture. Benefits of servant leaders. What benefit you get by following all these attributes? Increased employee engagement and morale. You basically increase your employee engagement, right? So as I said about manager, I will just give one beautiful example in my organization where I was working, right? I started taking bi-monthly one-to-one. I found resources little bit, confused little bit. They are not that proactive, not kind of that attachment, kind of attachment to the project and work, all this. So I started having one-to-one bi-monthly with my all members. Slowly, what happened, slowly I was able to have good employee engagement and I'm able to have good bonding between my employees, my group, and the work went very smoothly without any headache. So it improved teamwork and collaboration. That is what it will improve teamwork and collaboration. Enhanced employee trust and loyalty. It will enhance your employee trust and loyalty, right? There will be greater employee productivity and performance, stronger organizational culture, increased innovation and creativity, long-term sustainability, development of future leader, alignment of personal and professional goals. See, these all benefits you get if you follow the servant leadership. Then coming to here, you know here I've just put some slides which I found. Future servant leadership, traditional leadership. The difference between what is servant leadership and traditional. If you think about the focus, servant leadership will always, in terms of people, servant leadership will always focus serving others, serving the team members, serving the group, serving the people who are working with me. In traditional leadership, you call it as directing others. We direct others, do this, do that, do that. We don't serve. We don't take the approach of serving. We take the approach of directing. Power is always shared in civil leadership. No doubt, one person will have the authority to do the or to to sign the document. His signature is very important, but that work will be shared. That power will be shared with many other people, and then the authority, the person who has authorization, he will approve it. That is the only approval part is there, but it will be shared with the group of people, those who have that kind of mindset of taking responsibilities. In traditional leadership, it is concentrated. It is that one person who has the power, he will take, or maybe his friend, or maybe his colleague, whoever is working with them, senior level, they will have that. So see, it's servant leadership. That doesn't mean ki you give power to everyone. That doesn't mean you give to power to everyone. It has a meaning that this is shared. It is shared with group of people. Decision making, in case of servant leadership, decision making is collaborative, and traditional leadership top down. See, if I talk about software companies in agile methodology, what happens whenever you define or estimate hours, right? In agile methodology, the estimation is taken from the team. This after discussing with the team, the estimation is given. Team in the sense, tech leads, developer are also involved in that particular discussion. But when you talk about the approach or old way of implementation, in some cases, the project, the managers In in few companies, there are project managers. In some companies, there will be engineering leaders. Whoever take the manager, whoever take this decision, right? They directly think and they directly evaluate. They do the our estimation and send it. That used to happen in traditional leadership style, but nowadays I think most of the managers they discuss with their team members about the estimation and they estimate and send it. We talk about motivation. In case of servant leadership, motivation is intrinsic, growth and purpose. If in this session previously, I was given an exact example about one of my team member was not able to perform well, right? What I did, I sat with her, I explained the use cases, stories, how to, construct the uh, algorithm, how to write program, how to develop it. So I explained her, right? I explained her, I made her to grow with a purpose, so that if he learned, if he learn well, if he grows in this field, she is going to, if she learns well, if she grows in this field, she is going to be she's going to work with me in my team and she's going to help me as well as in my work. That's how the thought process, right? If I'm helping my team members, no doubt directly or indirectly my team members will help me, and we all together will serve each other and will grow in our commitments to the organization or to the project, fulfilling the purpose of the project, right? Along with that, we will also fulfill our own goal and our own purpose growing in our career. Right? Motivation, extrinsic, rewards, punishment. When you think about in extrinsic, what happens in traditional leadership, it's not all traditional leadership. There are many, but in some traditional leadership, what happens if you do your job in a better way, you get rewards. If you don't do, you get punishment. Right? In few cases, people are put into PIP, and even if they perform in PIP, what is PIP? Performance improvement. If they are not able to perform in PIP, what happens? They will be removed out. Okay, taking the example of this case, you know, I sat with her and I tried to identify which areas she is good into and where I can put her for work. You know, then I followed that process accordingly. I identified for in what she is good, and accordingly I put into her. I put her into that particular situation for her growth development. Here in servant leadership, we always talk about people development. You know, how my team will grow and how people around me those are working, how they will grow. And when we're talking about traditional leadership, it is always into task accomplishment is the priority. If you complete the task, that is done. See, in servant leadership also, we when if I talk about software companies in servant leadership, it doesn't mean that only I look into people development, I don't look into my task. That is a wrong approach. That is a wrong thought process which people have into mind. Servant leadership means I only look into people, I look into my people, I take care of my people. I don't care about when my project is getting delivered. I don't care about when my task is going public. No, 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 no. It's not that way. What it does mean? It means you look into people development. That you give the priority. Your people will take care of the task. They will deliver it because they are happy. You are taking care of them, they will take care of your task. That is how it is. In traditional leadership, in some cases, what happen, they don't care about people, they only care about tasks. It don't happen, say a person has some serious issue and can't come to office, can't work, but that day you need your delivery somehow. you want to force you want to force that person to deliver somehow. That is what accomplishment, right? You look into task accomplishment rather looking into the person's problem. So here what happened in case of people development is priority. Here you will try to understand what problem is with that person, right? Why he want to take a leave even if I have a serious task to deliver today or a critical task to deliver today. Why that person is going to take a leave, right? So you understood the problem. Okay, something went wrong in his family, some accident or something has happened. You understood it's a critical situation, that person will not be able to come. You will try to identify someone from your team and put in that, taking a person from low priority work and put it in high priority work. Asking that person to check talk to this person, let's say person A asking person A to talk to the person B, what, the person B is having some issue, is not able to come. So talk to person B, what he has done, what is there pending, and understanding them, implement it, right? So see, always, you should be a better time management. If you know how to manage the time, you will never have a critical situation in this case. Even if your employee takes a day leave, you'll be able to handle the situation. If you're not able to manage the time properly, then this kind of situation will come. Right? There are so many aspects of leadership, so many aspects of leadership. If I talk, it won't end. So many philosophies will come into there. So many psychology will come into there. Philosophy and psychology is the first part of leadership. If you have better philosophy, if you have better psychology, you can always, lead team in a better way. Servant leadership doesn't mean you are going to do a task. Servant leadership means you are going to look into a people, and the people are going to look into your task or work which is assigned to them. That is how you are going to do that. You are going to do that by following the 10 principles or characteristics which initially Greenleaf has mentioned, right? You follow these 10 principles, automatically you will be creating a bonding between your group, your employees, and your employees will be will be working efficiently to deliver the task or project, or deliver the deliverables of the project before time or on time. So this is how this is talking about leadership. There lots of theory, lots of concepts will come when you talk about leadership. That's how it is. Practical application of servant leadership. I've taken it um, some theories which I read. I'm just going to that, mentoring and coaching your employees. I was given this example, right, of my team member, how I mentored her and coached her. I will explain what actually happened after this presentation. After this PPT, I will explain in detail what is the situation, how I tackled it as being a servant leader in that particular situation. Creating a culture of psychological safety. You know, Empowering teams and individuals, to always empower them, motivate them, inspire them, you know, by following different uh, medium, or by following different criteria, having one-to-one meeting with them, understanding what they need, what is their needs, and how you can empower these individuals. If you don't talk to your, I will tell you, in some companies what people do, they annually they will talk once with their member, one to one. Annually they will do only once one to one with their team member during appraisal. That won't help, right? You need to have one to one regularly with your team members to understand what is their need, right? How they can how you can make them better to deliver efficiently or to work efficiently for the project, for the organization, right? So annually, if you do once one to one for appraisal time, during appraisal time, you won't understand them. You just know, okay, from the tools, tracking tools, you will come to know, or from different reports you'll come to know, okay, he has done this many hour works, he has efficiently delivered, he has a very good relationship with the stakeholders. So according to that, you will give the appraisal, but you won't understand the feelings, you won't understand the mind, you won't understand the person. Here just it's kind of you are kind of likely following traditional task accomplishment, right? You won't understand that how to do, or how to you won't understand that individual properly, right? You will see, okay, this person is coming, he's doing this work, that means he likes this work. He may like that work, he may not like that work, you don't know because you never spoke to him. He might be doing that work because of money, because he need a salary to survive, right? He need his he need he need money to survive. That is maybe the reason forcing him to do that work, right? You need to understand your resources. Someone may not be interested in coding, someone might be interested in testing, but he is doing here only because he want to survive. And after some time, what he will do, he will not find any right opportunity. He will move from company to other company, seeing another nice opportunity. whatever he's lacking. As I said, coding and testing. He is not interested in coding, he will apply jobs in testing and he'll move outside the organization. If you know that person is good, understanding what is his needs or what is her needs, and enable or empower him or her how he can or she can grow in the career. Actively seeking and listening to feedback, that is very important. See, managers give feedback to their group and their resources. The reverse is always required. You should always listen to them. You should also ask your feedback to your team members. That will enable you to understand your leadership, lackings in your leadership, and you can fulfill that area which which we can fulfill the area which is lacking, right? And you'll be able to make yourself better version every day. So feedback should be from the both side, from the team members. They should give your feedback and you should give their feedback. There is something called skip level meeting. You know what skip level meeting? I don't know if nowadays organizations are doing that. This skip level meeting, what it actually does, manager will not be there, his team members will be there. And here, some other third party people, what they will do, they will ask his team members about, they will ask these team members about uh, manager. They will ask the team members about the manager. What will happen? So this team member, in absence of the manager, they will give the feedback. In this team members, in absence of their manager, they will give the feedback about their manager, and that will actually, what happened? That will actually help the seniors to understand what the manager is doing. No, that's how that's how in many companies that's how uh, they promote managers to the higher manager roles, right? When it comes into the associate director, uh, president, VP, vice president, a skip level meeting is done. People try to understand how that person is, by doing skip level, taking feedback from juniors and other colleagues. Then that person get a promotion to the next level. In some companies, they do it in this way. There are many approaches where people want to understand a person's leadership attribute. See, here there are so many case studies. If you Google out, you can find so many case studies. You can go and read all this. I just found few case studies from the Google. Southwest Airline, known for its employee-centric culture and focus on customer services. There is Southwest Airline. If you see that, they are very employee-centric culture and they focus on customer service. They give very good service to their customers, right? And coming back, another Starbucks, emphasizing treating people, partners with respect and providing opportunities for growth. See, Starbucks is always good in treating their employees. These are very old case studies which I pulled out. If you see nowadays, there are many brand those who treat their employees in a very better way, and there are many companies those are very employee centric, right? So I've given few example. Uh, you can also include some other, if you are explaining someone, you can also include your companies. Here in India, if you talk about Indigo Airlines, they are always very good in so they're always very good. They're focused on customer service. Their customer service is very good. And though I have not worked in Indigo Airlines, but what I have seen, I feel they might be having also good employee-centric culture, right? And you think about in India, there is a very good company, very old company, Tata Group. They are also, always employee-centric. What I have learned from my friends, those who are working there, they're always employee-centric. That's how see there. If you see talk about American Express, you talk about JP Morgan, you talk about JP Morgan Chase, you talk about Standard Chartered, you talk about uh, Wells Fargo, you talk about there are so many companies, Amazon, you talk about Microsoft, you talk about there are so many. You talk about Boeing, you talk about Visa, you talk about there are so many organizations, those who have good, employee-centric culture. Nowadays, most of the organizations they are following employee-centric culture and focus on customer services. So many of the organizations they have moved out of traditional leadership to servant leadership, and some of them have customized their leadership attributes. It's not servant leadership; it might be free leadership. Freestyle leadership. When you talk about freestyle leadership, it's a combination of servant leadership and maybe combination of many other leaderships. Right. So, what kind of challenges or consideration need to be done when you are following this the attribute of servant leadership? In resistance to change from those accustomed to traditional leadership, like the people those who are already following traditional leadership, when they come down to serve their people, they will have a reluctant or resistance inside them. Right? I will give you one beautiful example: a director who has followed his career directing others, right? If he wants to follow the servant leadership, for example, a resource came to him and he said, uh, I had this issue in my, I am facing this issue. I don't know how to code all this, that. What happened? He directly direct him to another person. That won't help, right? Sometimes it helps, sometimes it won't help. In some situation, when you direct to another person, you don't know how that person will help or guide. In this situational scenario, this individual or the director should sit with him, talk to him, should look into his work, what this person is doing. You know, again from that, again from that, this person should understand. I'll give my example. What happened? I was talking about her. So she had some issue. Let me tell that story or tell that fact what happened completely here. You will be able to understand next point when I face that kind of situation scenario. See what happened now. She was not able to perform very well, and this observation on tools where we track employee performance and issues, employee work. On that tool, it is clearly visible, and even if in the work, even if in the daily stand-up, it is clearly visible. She is not able to deliver at the time. So all the things came into my bucket. My manager also observed it, and it comes to my bucket. Now, either I have to put into PIP or I have to help her to grow from their position. After discussing with manager, I have taken a decision. I told, okay, I am looking into her from last few weeks. I am guiding her. So hold on to it. Give me a month of time, or hold on to it. She will grow. I didn't say month of time, but I said hold on to it. She will grow. See how it happens. Wait for some time. Now what happened now? Because you can't keep a resource who can't work, who can't do anything, right? It's organized, like it's business. So we have to look into how the business should do well along with all the resources or all the employees working with me. They should do well, right? So now what happened? I sat with her for a day, and then next day I understood the problem of her. And what happened? I sat with her every day, every day for an hour or two, explaining her the things. And after that, I found a best person, best issues from my team, and I followed the concept of paired programming. You know what is paired programming? Two people together working, right? So I attached her with that person, and whatever I trained from there, my best issues, she started training to her. And every day, I will be taking feedback from her, how she is doing, what things are going. And after, few weeks, not a month, after a few weeks, she was better. And after a month, she was far better. And all tracking tools, all stand up, everywhere she is able to do better, do work in a better way. So this is the approach which I have taken, and I understood because only I said with her, if I would have guided someone, you know, uh, not I, if I would have told my best to just go and sit with her to do it. I don't know what approach he would have taken, but in some cases, what will happen? Uh, the resource will come to you. See, they will tell that lady or that girl, she don't know how to code. She don't know what is this syntax. She don't know what is this statement. I can teach like a kid. That's how. some people will come and tell. But what happens when you sit with your resource, you understand your resource in a better way, and then you can, find a better solution and assign it to, or assign her with another person, and what will happen? The work can be done in a better way. Sometimes some resources need a support to learn and grow. Kind of a pushback. You just give small push, a little pushback, they will learn and they will grow from there, and they very rarely need help in future. Coming to the next point, the need for ongoing training and development. This is what my this story it or my experience, life experience. This suffice everything. You know Now, if I would have not followed servant leadership, if I would have followed traditional leadership, I would have felt reluctant to sit with her and share the feelings, or share the what is going on her mind. That would not have happened. And if I would not have learned that, it would be very difficult for me to find the right, you know, criteria for her. So always, if you are reluctant, you cannot go with servant leadership. Your resistance, you need to change. That resistance should go out from you. That later to go for you. Need for ongoing training and development. Sometimes leaders need training and development to be a better leader. So training and development is always required. Balancing the needs of individual with the goals of organization. Then the time and patience required for building trust and relationship. The potential for servant leaders to be perceived as weak or indecisive, right? So these are the few points or challenges and consideration. You can always, if you look into it, you'll find so many challenges and consideration. You will feel how I can keep all of my team member happy always. That is the biggest challenge in your life. If you are a manager, and if you're an engineering leader and people are reporting to you, it is always the biggest challenge. And in your team, if you have all the resources, top resources, and it is a very very biggest challenge how to keep all of them happy. How to you know drive in that way, how to drive the team and the everything in a better way. That sometimes you have to think out of box to do all these things. Implementing servant leadership in your role. Start by focusing on listening to and understanding needs of your team. That's the first thing. Any kind of leadership, not servant leadership, any kind of leadership, either freestyle or any kind of leadership you take, the first thing is you should be a good listener. You start by focusing on listening to and understanding the needs of your team. Seeks to empower and develop those you work with. You always should empower and develop those you work with. Your group, your team, you should always empower them and develop them to grow. Lead by example, demonstrating humility, empathy, and integrity. It's always you should lead by example. As I said, what happened? I started helping that girl in coding, and I guided her for few, more than a week, and then another person, then the another person who is sitting on that same floor, just few seats, um, behind or side to me. I asked him to deliver this or help this girl. That person was observing me, right? That person was observing me. I am coming, sitting with her and helping her in coding. That's how that person also thought, okay, my leader is helping and coding. Let me also help her to grow. This is how you lead by example, right? Create a safe and supportive environment where people feel comfortable taking risks and sharing ideas. If you do regularly one to one, rather annually once, if you do your but one to one meet up, regularly bi-monthly or maybe monthly, you do it once, you understand your people, and they will share their ideas, their problems, everything they will share. They will start sharing because you talk to them, right? Regularly regularly you reflect your leadership practice and seek feedback. That's what feedback. Not I should not give only feedback to my team members, I should get feedback from my team member also. Then only I will understand what went wrong inside me. I will be better version next day, right? Prioritize building strong relationship. The most important factor is you should build a strong relationship with the team, then only you'll be able to grow. And your team will also grow. You see, your team grows, you grow. Conclusion and call to action. If you are seriously, you are just spelling mistake in place of T, it is B. So don't ignore that. If you are seriously, want to grow in servant leadership or in leadership attribute, you have to follow servant leadership in some of the places. I would always, my thought process or my point of view is what I do. I follow freestyle leadership. What does it mean? It means most of the time there will be servant leadership. Wherever it is needed, something different, I need to act. I need to adapt that, and I need to grow. That's how freestyle leadership come into picture, right? So servant leadership is always best. You should always follow it. And if you want to grow, start practicing it. And there's a very nice video by Ken Blanchard. Blanchard, he's a author, right? He's an author. It's a very nice video. I'm going to share it. Just watch it. Yeah. So I'm sharing it, the video. Just watch it. It's a very nice video. Watch it.
I really feel that the world is in desperate need of a different leadership role model. We've seen what self serving leaders have done to the detriment of people in every sector of society all around the world. And so, what we really need is people who are servant leaders, people who are there to serve first and lead second. Leadership is an influence process. We're all influencing each other all the time. So everybody's a leader in every part of their lives. The most effective leaders I know are just good human beings. They care about people. They listen more than they talk. They want to help people win. That's about caring, and it's about your heart. There's three key aspects of being a leader, being a manager. One is clear goals. All good performance starts with clear goals. And so people around you, if you want to make a difference in their lives, they need to know what they're trying to accomplish. Second, once the goals are clear, you ought to wander around and see if you can catch them doing something right and give them a 1 minute praising, acknowledging what they've done, tell them how you feel about what they've done, how it's impacted you, and that's really important. And then if their performance isn't going exactly the way you both wanted, you give what we call now a 1 minute redirect. So to say, gee, I'm observing your performance here, and I don't think it's as good as we thought it would be. Do you agree? And they usually will because you're not there to punish them. And then you say, what can I do to help you get back on track? One of the important things about being an effective leader is to enter your day slowly with some sense of intent and think about what's on my schedule today. How do I want to be seen today? And then at the end of the day, put praisings in your journal. What did you do today that you feel really good about? And then redirections. What did you do that you'd love to replay? And that'll maybe set a goal for you the next day. I think a good manager is more intentional in their behavior, not caught in the rat race. And the problem with the rat race is even if you win it, you're still a rat. I like to look at it, the difference between success and significance. I think when people are focusing on success, they're thinking about how much money they make, the recognition they get for their efforts and their power and status. When that's who you think you are, the only way you can maintain your feelings of self-worth is to get more of those. And I think then you miss significance, which to me, the opposite of making money is generosity of your time, your talent, your treasure, and a fourth one, touch, reaching out to people. What's the opposite of recognition? It's service. And what's the opposite of power and status? It's loving relationships. Because when all is said and done in life, when you're gone and you die, the only thing you get to take with you is your soul. And that's where you store who you love and who loved you.
So see, this is what that video you have seen, and you might have heard Glenn Blanchard. He's a very nice author. You know, he's written very good few books. If you really if you really want to, you know, uh, learn more about servant leadership, you can watch his videos on YouTube. There are a few other articles by HBS, HBR. You know, you can read that also. You know, there are so many articles on servant leadership which you can read and go. The main important factor in servant leadership is you need to follow all these attributes which Greenleaf has mentioned. You know, initially I explained that that attributes here, these attributes, these are very important. Listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment, building, community. These are very, these are very, very important attribute you need to learn. You need to apply. You need to implement this attribute inside you. Definitely, you will follow the path of, servant leadership. Servant leadership doesn't mean you have to serve, always, or you have to listen to them for everything. No, you also have your own decision taking capabilities, right? That's the reason you are in a leadership position. Servant leadership means you need to understand them, you need to listen them, you need to understand them, and from that you need to find, from that you need to find what is the best, right? After listening and understanding, if you find your team or the person who is talking to you having some theories, some concepts, after understanding, realizing that you found, okay, this is not how it should work, you need to explain, you need to influence, you need to, you need to uh, you need to induce into that person's mind what is right, what is good, what should be done, what should not be done, how the approach should be taken. That's how it is. It doesn't mean you listen and whatever people say you do and you serve. It doesn't mean that. you know Few people think in that way, but it's not that, because the person those who are into leadership role, they will know what is servant leadership. The people those who are not into leadership role, they need to understand what is servant leadership and how they need to grow on that particular track or path. Anyway, here I will end this session. uh, Thank you everyone for watching this video, and we will meet some other session with something leadership and all other attributes. Thank you everyone.